Hey, so before we begin, I just need to give a little trigger warning. This episode talks about premature birth, cancer, and the reality of being a young carer. If this is too heavy, please take care of yourself. Feel free to skip this podcast or skip to halfway through where we talk about the support that young carers get and the usual gaming and funny news. With that said, let's get into today's episode of Quacks and Chats, a Bearded Steve podcast.
Hear the laughs, feel the chat, story spinning, imagine that. Life games and a little sass. Quacks and Chats, a Bearded Steve podcast. Podcast, podcast. Bearded Steve podcast. Podcast, podcast.
So yeah, welcome back to episode 2. Not every episode is going to be like this. Usually we laugh, we share stories, talk gaming and life. Today I'm using this platform for something slightly different. This episode is a release that I've never ever had before. I'm opening up about a part of my life I've always carried quietly, and just to be clear, I'm not telling this story for sympathy. I don't want the I want honesty. What it really means to be a young carer, and maybe it gives someone else the courage to share the truth too. If I pause, if voice shakes, if I cry, I apologise, but some stories deserve to be told this way. So it starts off quite sad. This, when I was 6 years old, my brother was born. He was due in December and he arrived in August. He was so small, fragile, fighting from the start. He was literally the size of the fingertip of my dad to my dad's wrist, and that was the size of him. We took trips to London so my parents could learn how to test tube feed him. I even helped and took part of helping feed him, and what I can say is those months were scary. They changed our family. He's doing much better now, and when this podcast comes out, it will be his birthday. So, happy birthday. He listens as well. But yeah, those first few months and years were scary.
Quacks and Chats, a Bearded Steve podcast.
So, how did I become a young carer? So, a few years later, my brother was in reception. Me moving from year 6 to year 7, so 10, 11 years old. My dad was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so an aggressive stomach cancer, and life shifted. It wasn't just that my role model and figurehead was ill, it meant so much at home. 5 younger siblings looking up to me, my mum trying to hold the centre whilst the person she loves fought for his life, and me, the oldest, having to step up. It wasn't just cooking and cleaning, it was the homework help, being the extra pair of hands when one of my see, I'm stumbling over words, of my brother. My brother's got learning difficulties, so having to help and needing to help that extra support, keeping the younger ones calm when everything else felt unstable. After tough bouts of chemo, I'd climb into bed next to my dad, put the telly on, and just sit there, watch TV, and I'd just make sure he was comfortable. If I had a cough, I kept my distance. I wasn't risking anything. I'd make sure he was comfortable, and sometimes just listen to him breathe through the pain and try and help. All this whilst being bullied at school. I carried the heaviness from home into the classroom and back, and my grades and my school attention just wasn't there anymore. But I learnt at a young age to hide and hold my emotions in place, look steady on the outside, whatever was happening on the inside. It was heavy, it was unfair, it was real. Good news though, my dad pulled through. He's been in remission for 16 years. I'm grateful for every single day that we've had. But those years changed me. They taught me responsibility before I was ready, and what it means to put someone else's comfort way before your own. And yeah, I am so grateful that he pulled through, because honestly, I really don't know what I would have done. But that's when I became a young carer. Not with a badge, not with the on paper, not the bells and whistles, just quietly stepping into a role kids shouldn't have to think about. It meant so much. It meant not going out, rushing home from school because the job was waiting, helping my mum, helping my siblings, supporting my brother, keeping the house going, making sure my dad was okay. Turning 18 as well didn't flick that switch off. I moved away for work and I became an outdoor instructor, but I was still a young adult carer, balancing shifts and life away with home, with staying in constant contact, checking in, trying to help from a distance. The responsibility didn't vanish. You just learn to carry it differently and trying to find that balance. So with young carers, here's the part that gets under my skin. So many kids don't get spotted. They slip under the radar, and we've known about this for years. Back in 2013, I campaigned with other young carers through your youth parliament meetings to push for a bill so kids like us would be recognised sooner and professionals would spot us earlier. Teenagers giving our time and voices because we believe we can make it a lot better for the next generation coming up. And yet the headlines keep saying the same thing. 3rd of July 2023, Carers UK said that society is closing its eyes on young carers' poverty. 14th of November 2023, Carers Trust, the first parliamentary inquiry, shows lack of support is wrecking kids' education and lives. 26th of September 2024, the public sector executive, young carers miss an average of 23 school days a year, and calls for proper government action. 12th of March 2025, Carers Trust. More than half of young carers still don't get regular breaks. Nearly a quarter say there's just no one else to step in. That's 12 years since I was campaigning, and still reading the same stories. It annoys me. Young carers don't want pity. We need the support, recognition and systems that don't leave kids carrying more than what most adults could handle. And because balance matters, here's the truth about what helped me. The things that gave me breath when life felt tight. Lunchtime school drop-ins where I could talk, reset, and not have to explain everything at school. And to talk to other young carers that have just been found. The Young Carers Festival, first as a kid, later I helped out plan the festival with a group of us. It was joy, belonging, and a reminder we weren't invisible. Sailing trips, proper freedom for 5 days, wind in your face, worry dialed down, and being able to be close enough to shore where you could find out a phone call, find out what was going on. So even though these are nice little extras, they were lifelines, giving these young people a chance of hope. If they want the kids to survive the lows, we have to give them the regular highs. It's you heard in the first part of this podcast the trauma and the stress, and even now, just when I was writing all of this, it was so hard. I was like literally in tears writing it. And again, I don't want the sympathy. I want people's eyes to be open, ready to help young carers. If you see a young person and you know they're a carer, help get them signposted. There's going to be links in the description of everywhere that you can go and check and help support people. it really annoys me that we're still having the same issues that I campaigned for 12 years ago. But even now, the young carer side of life doesn't stop. I'll make sure that the phone calls are going home, making sure that everyone's okay, and it's made me who I am. But at the same point, I was one of the lucky ones that got spotted. It does just really upset me that young carers aren't getting the recognition that they deserve. Right, rant over. Just make sure you are checking the links in the description down below if you do need the help or want to signpost someone or actually help give that person support. Let's lift this up before we go. Gaming news. Fortnite are going to feature Scooby-Doo at Fort Nightmares 2025. Leaked info suggests that October Fortnite are increasing. This is such a I can't compute. Even the October Fortnightmares event will bring Scooby-Doo with shaggy skins, back bling of Scooby, and possibly the Mystery Machine as a glider or cosmetic drop. Just Fortnite never fails to amaze me. Other news, Battlefield 6 beta and open weapon system. So the Battlefield 6 open beta has just wrapped up after 2 successful weekends with players raving about the spectacle. Meanwhile, a vocal streamer, Shroud, said returning to Battlefield 2042 after playing Battlefield 6 made one thing clear. Either Battlefield 2042 is that bad or 6 is just that good. Game devs responded to map size concerns by assuring fans that yes, large maps do exist, even though the beta featured smaller ones. Also, smoke grenades are emerging as meta in the beta, giving players a crucial tactical edge in fast, aggressive combat, which I think Battlefield 6 is leaning more towards. EA Sports as well. The closed beta has been live for a few weeks, running from August 6th to August 26th. So letting players test career modes testing modes like career, clubs, and ultimate team. So yeah, I've thankfully been one of those people that got to do the beta, and it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And chats of Bearded Steve podcasts, Bearded Steve podcasts. Now on to some funny news. So, Seagull crime wave. So in Devon, my home county, love it. Every year this story comes up. So a cafe had to ban chips outside after seagulls kept dive bombing customers and flying off with entire meals. One bloke has lost his whole pasty. Honestly, those seagulls are ravenous. So yeah, if you're ever going to take a trip anywhere to the southwest, make sure you eat inside, because seagulls will come and grab your food. Second story of the week, an AI judge of sheep. In New Zealand, they trialled an AI tool to judge a sheep shearing contest, and it disqualified half the sheep because the wool looked messy. Farmers obviously were not happy, as there is more sheep in New Zealand than there is people. So yeah, they weren't happy at all. And the last story that I have, carrot the size of a toddler. A bloke in Yorkshire just grew a carrot weighing more than his 2-year-old. He says he's not sure what to do with it. I say a giant stew. Not that I would eat it. And of course it's Yorkshire. Nothing else happens there, does it? But there we go. Sometimes the world writes its own comedy. We might as well all enjoy it after my little rant about young carers not getting the support that they should be getting.
Quacks and chats, a bearded Steve podcast. Bearded Steve podcast.
So in this part of the podcast, we normally go to Community Corner, but because we're only on episode 2 and we're still growing, again, thank you so much for the views that we got last week for episode 1. We're gonna just defrag this episode, and I want to hear everyone's opinion about the support that young carers get, or lack of support. Also, I want to hear in the comments what you want to see in future episodes and what you want covering. Also, make sure you are joining the Discord. The link is down in the description. I want to see your funny hats. I can't be the only one with a bucket hat, a duck bucket hat, and a Viking helmet. Like, I can't believe that I'll be the only one. So please join the Discord, show us your hats, and as you've made it this far, make sure you are dropping a rating on whatever platform you listen on, if that's YouTube, Spotify, or Amazon Music. Also at the bottom, make sure you are writing your funny story of the week, and it might feature in next week's episode of
Quacks and chats, a bearded Steve podcast. Bearded Steve podcast.
So that's today's episode. If any of this brought stuff up for you, check the description for proper support. Don't carry it alone. I'm now 27, making a podcast about stuff that happened when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. Go seek help. Use the links that are down below. Next time, I promise, we are going to be a lot lighter, but I had to use this platform that I've got to remind everyone why young carers deserve recognition and real help and support. So yeah, join us next week where we talk about burnout from life, from gaming, from streaming. But yeah, you've been listening to Quacks and Chats, a Bearded Steve podcast. Until next week, good bye.
Thanks for watching Quacks and Chats.